Okay, everybody, welcome to this little guide video, a little bit of preparation for the big boy Zamorak. Of course, we'll be fighting him at the beginning of July, and it should be a very, very good time. So, I thought I'd put together a few little tips and tricks, things that I think are a good idea to do in preparation for Zamorak. It'll be a mixture of stuff in my invent here and some pictures on the screen. But yeah, let's get cracking. So first off, we have the Demon Slayer Sigil. I've already touched this in a previous video, but basically what it does is it does 15% more, well, it makes you do 15% more damage to demons for 10 seconds, which is really, really good. So like if any of the bosses are like particularly difficult, as maybe there's like a DPS check and the boss is a demon, I don't think it'll work on Zamorak, but he might have some other bosses or even some trash mobs that this would very much benefit from. And definitely get your hands on this. Very, very good. Activate it once per minute, so it's a must-have. Secondly, we have the Demon Slayer perk, which you can put on your armor. You can either combine it with Impatient, or you can combine it with Biting. It's up to you, but those are probably the two that I would go for personally. Pictures should be on the screen of how to make each gizmo and the chances of doing it. It can cost a bit, but I'd recommend doing some Zamorak Mjolnirs in the Grand Exchange if you're a main. And if not, then Spiritual Warriors on an Iron Man. You can get yourself quite a few components in your player-owned dungeon. Next up, we're into the inventory now. We have, so if you're maging, I would very much recommend a Caraming switch. So what this does is it makes your chain ability hit even more targets than normal. And if you combine that with Greater Chain, it means you can really put out a lot of damage very, very quickly on a lot of mobs. So the combo should be on screen. Ideally, you want to go for Caraming for Equilibrium 2 because it does a little bit more damage. But you know, if you happen to fail the roll and get Caraming Ruthless or just Caraming on its own instead, it's not too bad. Not too bad. But definitely try and get the Equilibrium 2 if you can. Next up, we have, if you're ranging the dungeon, it is almost a must-have to have a Essence of Finality here with a Dark Bow special attack inside it. But you're going to want some Mechanized Chinchompers as well. So you put those on, put the amulet, and then you have a Dark Bow spec that's AoE, and it kills mobs unbelievably fast. So really would recommend that, especially when combined with Incendiary Shot. Like you get so many crits, you can like back to back to back Dark Bow. So very, very much worth doing. Next up is the Bladed Dive switch. So Shattered Worlds, doesn't take too long to unlock this, especially if you have the Chinchompers and Dark Bow Amulet, like I mentioned before. But in ED2, there is a room with spiders in it, and if you play your cards right, you can Surge and Bladed Dive at the exact same time. Although not in this particular room because you're not allowed to Surge and Dive here. But you can Surge and Dive at the exact same time, and you can actually skip past the spiders and you can dodge their aggro. So obviously there's no guarantee there will be the same kind of mechanic in Elite Dungeons 4, but you never know. It's good to be prepared, and it's always good to have a little bit of extra mobility sometimes as well. Now the next obvious thing is the new quests. So you really want to get caught up on all of the new quests because, well, one, you get reroll tokens, which means you are more likely to get the good stuff from Mr. Zamajam himself. And also, a little bit more importantly, in terms of survival, you get a 10% damage reduction if you do all of the new quests. So that's everything up to Twilight of the Gods. So very much recommended. Very, very important. You don't want to be without that. Next up, we have the Incense Sticks. So a lot of people actually don't know what these do and how important they are. So these are probably the most important ones in order. So Lanternome Sticks, these are really, really nice because what they do is if you overcharge yourself with them, it makes all of your potions that are timed last longer. So as you know, your overloads last 6 minutes, but if you use these sticks, then your overloads last 8 minutes. So you really get your your bang for your buck there. It's very, very good. And also your weapon poison goes from 10 minutes to 12. Very worth having. Next up we have the Qualm Sticks. These are also very, very good. These make your weapon poison just do more damage. And you know, chances are there are going to be things in that dungeon that are poisonable. So you very much want to have these as well. Nice bit of extra damage to be done there. And then thirdly, we have Spirit Weed Sticks. These are only important if you're using a Ripper Demon familiar. If you're using a Calgarian Demon, you don't need the extra special attack energy. But yeah, these make your familiar recharge their special attack a little bit faster. So very good for Ripper Demons, which you're probably going to want if you're ranging or meleeing. But if you're maging with Staff of Armadyl, then yeah, definitely skip the Spirit Weed and just grab the demon, grab the scrolls, and then use it once per minute. Very, very nice and cheap. And second to last, we have a Demon Slayer. Sorry, a Demon Slayer task. So go to your local Slayer master, ideally Laniakea, I guess, and probably just try and grab a Demon Cluster task just before release. So you got a long time to do this one, but probably try and get one of those on the 3rd of July, ready for the 4th when the boss releases. And then finally, we have one last thing, which is a little bit of a miscellaneous thing, but what I would recommend is actually try and push yourself to 500% enraged Telos. Like, Telos? What's Telos got to do with this, I hear you ask? But Telos actually is the best boss for learning how to... It's the best boss for improving at combat, basically. Because Telos makes you use so many extra abilities that you otherwise wouldn't do. And it's really, really good practice. And it will really give you the edge on your fellow clanmates. You know, maybe you're similar skill level right now to your clan friends. And, you know, they don't have 500%, but then you push to 500. Like, you're going to smash them at Zami, I guarantee it. Like, you use stuff like Natural Instinct, Barricade, Reflect, Revenge, Devotion, like all of these abilities that other bosses, you really don't use that much. I would very much recommend doing whatever you can to push to 500% Telos. I know the RS guy and Evil Lucario have some very nice guides for certain phases. I think RS guy is a great phase 5 guide, because I know that's normally a struggle for people, and Evil Lucario has a fantastic phase 4 guide. Those are the phases that can go the most wrong, so definitely recommend checking those out. And apart from that, I think we are all good. So hopefully you enjoyed these tips. If you have any other tips, don't forget to leave them down below in the comments. Hopefully this is helpful to at least some people. You know, maybe there's something on this list that you forgot about, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe the Incense Sticks, huh? But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video is super duper helpful. Very excited for Zami. And yeah, I'll see you in hell.